Hey there, 8th graders, and welcome to today's explainer. Have you ever taken a big bite of a meal that was just meh? Like it had all the right ingredients, but it tasted like absolutely nothing? Well, writing can be exactly like that. So today, we're going to learn how to become master chefs of words. We're looking at eloquent expressions, developing voice, and figurative language. And I promise you, by the time we finish this explainer, you're going to know exactly how to take a bland, boring paragraph and turn it into an absolute feast for your readers.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. First, seasoning your words, where we'll figure out what actually makes writing taste good. Then we'll open up the spice cabinet for 3 powerful writing tools. Third, we're going to track down your unique voice, right before we launch into your writing mission. And finally, we'll wrap the whole thing up by seeing how this ties into education, morality, and peace. Let's jump in.
Section 1. Seasoning your words. Because let's face it, just spitting out facts in your writing is kind of like serving up raw, unseasoned ingredients.
Check this out. Colossians chapter 4, verse 6 says, "Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person." It is so fascinating that the Bible itself actually uses this exact culinary metaphor. You see, seasoning our speech isn't just a neat little trick to get a good grade in English class. It's a profound biblical foundation for powerful, gracious communication. Whether you're chatting with a friend or writing an epic story, the way you season your words completely dictates how they're received. We want our words to be flavorful, kind, and incredibly effective.
So, the big thing we need to understand is the difference between literal and figurative language. Literal language, it just tells the facts. It says exactly what's happening, and frankly, it can fall a little flat. Remember those raw, unseasoned ingredients? If I say, "It is cold outside," well, that's a literal fact. But figurative language adds the flavor. It makes those facts memorable by creating a vivid picture right in your reader's mind. Without figurative language, your writing's probably going to feel totally flat. But when you use it, you give your readers an experience they absolutely won't forget. You actually make them feel something.
Moving right along to Section 2, 3 powerful writing tools. It is time to open up that magic spice cabinet.
First up, we've got the simile. A simile is a comparison using the words like or as. Take a listen to this. "The wind sliced through my jacket like a knife of ice." Wow, right? You don't just know it's cold, you can literally feel the chill. By comparing the wind to an icy knife, you take a really boring literal fact, the wind was cold, and you make the reader shiver. That is the incredible power of a perfectly placed simile.
Next up, the metaphor. Now, a metaphor is super similar, but instead of saying something is like something else, you say it is that thing. It's a direct replacement. Listen to this one. "Hope was a stubborn flame in my chest, refusing to go out." Notice how that takes an invisible emotion, like hope, and gives it this really powerful visible image, a stubborn flame. You can almost see it flickering there, fighting against the wind. It creates this deeply moving picture in your mind that a plain, literal sentence just couldn't ever pull off.
And spice number 3 is personification. This is when you give human traits to something that isn't actually human. For example, the sun peeked shyly over the horizon, painting the clouds with pink and gold. Now, obviously, the sun isn't a person. It doesn't feel shy, and it definitely isn't holding a paintbrush up there. But by giving it those human qualities, nature suddenly feels totally alive on the page. It transforms a standard, everyday sunrise into a beautiful, active, almost theatrical scene.
Okay, Section 3, finding your unique voice. This is where we learn how to make you sound exactly like you.
Look, voice is the unique way you tell your story. I want to speak directly to you for a second here. Your voice is what makes your writing yours. If I gave the exact same writing prompt to 20 different 8th graders, we get 20 completely different stories back. Why? Because every single one of you has a totally unique perspective. Your personality, your background, your weird sense of humor, all of that makes up your voice. And it's that voice that keeps your writing from sounding robotic, no matter how many clever metaphors you throw in. You've really got to embrace your natural voice.
But I do have to give you a quick warning. Think about the difference between a perfectly seasoned dish and a meal that is just overwhelmingly salty. What happens if you unscrew the cap and dump the entire salt shaker onto your dinner? It's completely ruined, right? You can't even taste the actual food anymore. All you taste is salt. Well, the exact same thing happens in writing. If you overload your paragraphs with way too many figurative phrases, or if you rely on cliches that we've all heard a million times before, you're going to completely overwhelm the main dish of your story. Your reader will just get exhausted. So the key here is restraint. Use your spices purposefully to highlight the meal, not to bury it.
All right, Section 4, your writing mission. Time to hit the kitchen and practice.
Here is your 5-point kitchen prep for today's assignment. Number 1, write one simile describing your story's setting. Really make us see the location. Number 2, write one metaphor showing your main character's feelings. Give that internal emotion a physical image we can picture. Number 3, write one sentence using personification about the weather. Make the sky or the rain act like a living human being. Number 4, describe a specific moment in your story using your natural voice. Let your absolutely unique personality shine right through. And finally, number 5, go back through your work, find a sentence that uses an overused cliché and revise it into something fresh and new. I know you're going to totally crush this assignment.
Finally, Section 5, Education, Morality, and Peace. Let's take a minute to talk about the godly mindset.
Here at Hero Smart Academy, our Godly Learners series is built on this core fundamental philosophy. Education without morality will hurt. And guys, this is a really profound truth. You could master all the academic skills in the world. You could become the most eloquent writer capable of crafting breathtaking metaphors and flawless similes. But if you decouple those skills from a biblical moral compass, well, those skills won't serve you or the world very well. Mastering the mind without guiding the heart, it ultimately just leads to pain.
But, there's a much better way. Romans chapter 8, verses 6 and 7 promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their minds spiritual. This is such an incredible biblical promise, and honestly, it's our exact experience here as people engage with our content. When you combine your education, your growing intellect, and these awesome new writing skills with a spiritual, godly mindset, the result isn't chaos or pain. The result is true, lasting peace.
So I want to leave you with this question to really chew on as you log off today. What is the point of being smart and supposedly educated if you're continuing to make bad choices that hurt? Just let that sink in for a moment. Your goal shouldn't just be to become brilliant writers, though hey, I definitely want that for you. But your ultimate goal should be to become wise, godly learners who use your eloquent expressions to bring truth, grace, and peace into the world. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to read the perfectly seasoned, beautiful stories you're going to write.